This is WCR.
Starting where I left off last week there, by trashing the studio straight away. Welcome to this week's 2 Hours of Chaos Secret Public Cafe show. And if you think I had the dropsies last week, well, I've got them again this week. I've just knocked about 3 jingle players all over the floor. So just carrying on as normal here at the Secret Public Cafe show. Special guests this week are UXB, joined in the studio by Colin Bennett and Mick Turner. Welcome, lads. They're just donning their hard hats here at the moment. So say hello to the good listeners of Woverhampton.
Evening.
Evening. I've got a few things to play before we get on to the resurrection of UXB on the punk scene, and been playing a bit of the stuff, as you regular listeners will know, for the past few months now. And I've got some nice little speciality things tonight. Japanese release from the band being aired here. Not in Japanese. No, they're good sort of... down-to-earth Cannock lads, I'm from Cannock, eh, lads?
That'll do.
Yeah, well.
Yes. Anyway, welcome back to our 2 guests in the studio, Colin Bennett and Mick Turner from the reformed UXB. Welcome to the show once again, lads.
Cheers, guys.
Just pull that mic just over a bit more, Mick.
Okay.
Sit back there nice and relax. This way where when the show's over, you'll sit back home later and you'll just start chuckling to yourselves, and folks will say, "What are you laughing at?" And you'll go, "Right, don't matter, it's just like..." It's one of them kind of experiences on this show. So, anyway, let's go back to September when I had a phone call off one Mr. Bennett sitting opposite me saying you'd got in touch with... Dizzy had got in touch with you from the record label to say as I was... I think I was chasing him for
It was one of them
injectors thing.
wasn't it?
Yeah, I wanted the injectors tape that he got, and there you go. We had a little chat and you told me about the band reforming and sort of just talk about it, the Japan interest and things like that. What happened exactly?
Yeah, well, we formed in about 78, wasn't it, Mick?
Yeah, something like that. 3 of us.
As a 3-piece, and then we tried various bass players, and then we got Dom in on vocals, and I'll switch to bass, and then we just did the one single really, Crazy Today, on a local label, Crazy Plane. And then we split up. When was it? About 82, wasn't it? We split up.
Yeah, but there's a lot happened before then.
Yeah, and then we both drifted in and out of various bands for years. And about 2 years ago, Dizzy got in touch with us from D2 to say that there was a lot of demand for Crazy Today on vinyl, which absolutely astounded us, and people were paying £100 for it and stuff. And Dizzy asked us if we could put Crazy Today out on his own label on a compilation CD, which we agreed to. And this eventually found its way to Japan, and a guy in Japan on 1977 Records got in touch with us and asked us if he could re-release Crazy Today out there, and also 48 Hours, which was our second single, which never quite got released over here because we fell out with the record label.
So the Japan interest actually come from the Binliner Records compilation going out there, like?
I think they knew about Crazy Today, the
There was
vinyl.
already,
anyway.
For the single, there was already demand for the single from collectors. And
Yeah.
stuff like that.
But this guy in Japan, he's in with Dizzy anyway at D2, and they sort of tip each other off about what's going on.
I mean, I think that's the beauty with that, with Dizzy's setup. I mean, with the Detour label and like the Bin, because there's another label within there. There's Detour, Binliner, and one more, I think, either.
I think there is, yeah. I just forget what the other one is.
The beauty is the fact that there's obviously somebody that was just well into everything that was going on back then, and I mean, he's to sort of trace these bands down, as that's how I got to contact with him when he found me trying to trace a band who I still can't think of the name, but they put Epic Cowboy out back in the late 70s, Birmingham-based punk band who ended up as Powerform. And if anybody knows that, can they ring in on 01902 572 257, because it was driving me saff last night and I've got the single at home.
Ring a bell tonight,
Anyway, yeah, and like, you know, he must have, and it's great because he's way down in, he's in Sussex, eh?
Yeah, Midhurst, Sussex,
yeah. And that's the same kind of situation as what happened with like the Circles.
Exactly, because Circles are on D2 as well.
Yeah, picked a compilation up and saw his, sort of rang him up, and then lo and behold, they've been trying to trace Mick and all that come about. And
what inspires D2, you see, is, I mean, I've bought them in tonight. We got 3 bootlegs here. People were putting Crazy Today and Mr. Fix It on there and bootlegging it, and we weren't getting any money.
Yeah.
And I think Dizzy has seen this and decided to do it properly.
Yeah.
Get in touch with all the bands, give them contracts. We haven't made a great deal of money, but, it's just
Well,
a
you
nice
know,
gesture, really.
I think the thing is what you got to look at as well is you probably, you know, this time last year or the year before, you was all doing nothing again,
That's right,
and you know,
yeah.
it's got you back
It's got us back
doing a
together,
little
yeah.
bit, and I mean, a lot of that kind of thing. The prefects got back together and played and it was great, you know, and it was rammed. The little civic was rammed, and they've done the railway over Birmingham as well, and that was the same reaction.
Yeah.
So you know, it's kind of a bit anti the punk ethic, if you like. You know, I mean, we're all getting on a bit now, but at the same time, there was more to punk than just that, and you know, nobody more than Paul Weller said it's for over 15s and under 25s, and ROZ now, and he's still playing. You know what I mean? Right. So, but no, I mean, it's great, and I was kind of well impressed with the standard, really. To say it is literally, I mean, other than yourselves, who got a bit of vinyl out, but most of it has come from kind of demos and stuff like that. And the standard of the stuff on the Bored Teenagers Volume 2, which is the one that features yourselves, as you know, like played some a few weeks ago. We'll talk about your London gig in a while, but there's a really good standard of stuff on there, really.
I've actually been in touch with 3 of the other bands on there, and they've all sent me CDs with more tracks on, and a couple of tracks which are on here are quite good, but they've got loads of stuff, you know, just as good and better, really.
Well, we'll play the original. I mean, I've been obviously playing your CD thing that you put together for me, really, your promo CD, but I like the authentic stuff if I can get it on the show. So we've got the authentic single from was it not 1980? Was it this?
1980, yeah.
On let's get the
150 quid if anybody wants to buy it.
And this
not
was
the value. It's never been played.
This was
this was the value down.
I need some tyres on the car.
This. Actually, you might get a good deal of goods here, because they're going down the you know, somebody wants to wait for his redundancy, he might throw you a few over the wall. This was done, produced by Little Winston, who was a sort of popular character in
Did you know Little Winston?
I knew of him. I knew he was more of a. He was a DJ, yeah. I think he was more of a DJ.
The singer and a DJ. He had his own singles out as well.
Yeah. But where was Ginger Studios? Where was that?
Aldridge. In Walsall.
And was that like, I mean, your initial local scene? What was you playing? Did you do Wolverhampton at all at the time?
Yeah, we did.
We played Lafayette,
B's. Yeah.
We used to do a lot of the colleges, Birmingham Food College, West Mids, that was a really good gig we used to play, Wolverhampton, Polly.
So, like,
really.
Like, was there... What about more in your own area, like Cannock, that way? Was there any outreach for it?
We did the Moonraker in Cannock.
We started off in the first gig we ever did was a 3-piece, was Arthur Hampton Hall at the Pie Green Road. Yeah. And he got trashed and we played. They tried to give us a bill for it, but we
sent us a bill for about 50 quid, which is a lot of money in 70.
Then it was all handing your instruments to anybody saying, "Oh yeah, I'm only holding these, the guitar player."
The best of it was my brother's band, who was headlining, never got a chance to play because the police cancelled the gig, didn't they? He's never forgiven me for that.
Well, we'll play the track just so that folks have a listen to the original from 1980. So this is UXB back then, and a track called Crazy Today, and it goes like this. And there, you've probably noticed there, just to stay in the tradition. And listen, John Peel did this on Tuesday night because I listened to him. Played the wrong side. So, live radio, stick with it. See him on air now. You can see exactly how chaotic it is for you. And live radio, stick with it. You can't beat it. This is UXB and Crazy Today, hopefully.
City. I heard it on the news. What's the use of fighting? Tell me what's it gonna prove? Well, the world's gone crazy today. Fighting in the streets today. What are we trying to say? What's the price we're willing to pay? The crowd can't see the way. The media will lead them astray. Don't believe what they say, 'cause it's all good really today. millions start paying their way. So it looks like the end today. The world's gone crazy today, fighting in the streets today. What are we trying to say? Well, what's the price we're willing to pay? The walls are crumbling around us, as hate and fear like everywhere. We should all be helping each other, but the people don't seem to care. The world's gone crazy today, fighting in the streets today. What are we trying to say? And what's the price we're willing to pay? 'Cause it's the price we're willing to pay. 'Cause it's the price we're willing to pay. 'Cause it's the price we're willing to pay.
WCR, Wolverhampton's only alternative. Nighttime radio. Nighttime radio. WCR. WCR. Nighttime radio. Nighttime radio. WCR.
Well, there it was, eventually hot off the original plastic, and like I say, eventually flipped it over and played the right side. Crazy Today from UXB, and just saying there that on my first hearing to that, the first band that sprung to mind really as a kind of thinking, very kind of poppy, punky, jammy influence, and were they an influence on you? Was that one of the bands?
Yeah, definitely Jam, The Clash.
Yeah, the Ruts, they were a big influence.
The Ruts were one of our favourites as well, yeah.
A lot in common with them.
Did you ever catch these? Where did you go to watch your gigs at the time? Was
JB's, Dudley, mate.
Yeah.
And the Civic, yeah.
We must have been in loads of crowds together, you know.
Probably, yeah.
So you used to get over here as well, at the Lafayette.
Yeah.
Did you ever?
We played the Lafayette as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that? What year was that? Have you got that?
I can tell you.
It was early 82, I think. So that was with
it was one of the last gigs we played it.
That was with Peter, our
81,
singer after
wasn't it?
Dom. We did quite a few gigs. We had another singer after Dom left, and
the Lafayette was it was September the 2nd. The Lafayette.
82.
81.
So I bet that was probably one of the last. Cause I'm trying to think when he'd shut now. It was far after that, really, was he?
I think we helped to shut it down.
I've done a few of them, enormous. The Jam, did you catch the Jam? Did you see the Jam live?
I saw the Jam at the Civic, yeah.
I
thought they were really good. That was the Setting Sun's tour.
That was I was at that gig myself.
Funny thing, at our when we auditioned Dom, our singer, he was hoping to get down tonight. We'd got Tony, the old bass player, with us, who was an out-and-out punk, Clampy. He was brilliant, wasn't he? Yeah. He was always out of his tree, but he was a good lad.
Yeah.
And he hated mods. And Dom turned up on a scooter with a Union Jack on the back. And Tony, he unplugged his bass and he said, "That's it," he says, "I can't be in a band with a mod." And he walked off, didn't he? Yeah. That was the last we saw of him. He just walked out.
So he missed out.
Yeah.
Anyway, talking about the Jam and that gig, so I thought I'd dig some stuff out to coincide with sort of memories of them days, and they were. I mean, to me, it was that kind of era that really the Civic all came into its own for me. Because I think it is when it's on, when you get the right band in there, it's like the best big venue I like to see anybody at, because there's still a great atmosphere in there.
Right size, isn't it?
Yeah, and like these sort of gigs around this time, I mean, I've often said, the crowds at some of the gigs were as good as the bands, right, yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But we'll play a track which was aired at the earlier gig, and it's the first track from the Setting Sun's album. I think it was one you were saying last night that you remembered, Girl on the Phone. Girl on the Phone, yeah. So we'll go with that, a bit more crackly plastic. And we're going to stay on kind of Civic Hall memories, because it's lost its way a bit just lately, I think, with the opening of the Academy in Birmingham, but it should bounce back. It's just the fact that they just need to get the right bands in there. But we go on to another classic from this would be about 78 when the Clash played there.
They got all the flags at the back of the stage, haven't they?
Was it actually the Give Him Enough Rope, or was it called something else?
That was that too.
Was it called the 17 Tons?
I think it was.
I think it was.
Because did they play Stafford Bingley as well?
They probably.
Or was that the next tour?
I remember.
Anyway, so I mean, what kind of what kind of influence did the Clash bring into you? Because I mean, you've got like the reggae thing. Was that something that
they did have quite a bit of a reggae feel, didn't they, as well?
Yeah, I think a lot of bands had around that time. you got, because you played a lot of gigs and there'd be a lot of Jamaica. Well, we used to play a lot of gigs over Moseley and places like that. And you used to have a mixed crowd, and especially with at the same time all the two-tone thing was coming out as well, and the beat and everything. So it was like a good cross.
But I mean, really, the Clash did, you know, probably had more respect from sort of you know, people into that music, like the producer, you know, Mikey Dread and stuff like that. I mean, he wouldn't work with a few other sort of white punk bands doing reggae, but like he did it with the Clash because you know, it was like well respected, and I think now if you look back now, they were probably the most original of getting reggae and the because like dub was happening at the time. It was getting heavier, or reggae. It was getting more, you know. I mean, you got like the ska thing, which was poppier. The Specials thing happened, which was like putting a sort of stick of dynamite up his backside and a lot of punk energy in it. But the Clash were doing a lot of dub stuff and that. Type stuff. But we have now been joined by Dom from the band, entering there, like you said, during Safe European Round. Welcome to the show, mates. Get around the mic with Cole. So, how did you get in, actually? Because these people keep getting in here. Who let you in?
The mate guy on the door.
Did he? Oh, right. I'll have to meet this main guy on the door because he's never there when I'm trying to get in.
He left instructions.
Well, he was waiting for me, so he said, go ahead.
Anyway, I better just move on to your second single release, which has come about. Tell us a bit about that. That's
well, this should have been released 20 years ago, straight after Crazy Today, shouldn't it? But
you can't get the staff, can you, with these record companies?
It was recorded and pressed onto masters, which we sent out, and John Peel played it, and Radio 1 and all the local people played it. And then we fell out with Winston, and he just pulled the plug on it and he wouldn't release it.
We were negotiating with another label, weren't we, at the time, or another management deal to put it out.
So, like, what exactly? How many bands was on? Like, was that Crazy Plane you were saying, the label?
Crazy Plane, yeah.
How many bands was on that?
He got us, and then he got a band called Bleeding Hearts from the Cannock area as well.
Yeah.
And
because I saw Bleeding Hearts supported the Circles.
That's right, they probably did, yeah. They were more poppy than us, I think.
Yeah, a bit more power pop.
But their bass player formed a band with Dom after, didn't they?
Yes, Mark.
Was that Ballum?
Mark Morris, yeah.
Yeah. I never realised he was in Bleeding Hearts. I can remember the Bleeding Hearts. I'm sure.
I think they supported us a few times as well at a few gigs. Played my 21st.
So this was like, and like this guy in Japan. Did he already know that this about this going to be a second single and sort of?
Because we made a bit of a big deal about it on the website and in our biography and stuff, that this single was like the legendary white label, which there was only about 10 pressed, and I think these people are in the business of snapping something exclusive, aren't they?
Yeah.
And the Japanese guy thought, oh well, I'll put the second single out then. And so I sent him some CDs over with the best sort of masters that I could find. I think that must have tickled them up a bit, and lo and behold, 20 years later, our second single's out, albeit in Japan, but it's quite a nice feeling.
Just go back to like what was the initial contact with you about, like from Dizzy? How did Dizzy make contact with you?
That was really weird, because Dizzy had been trying to track us down for years, because he won't put anything out unless he's got permission.
Yeah.
And we hadn't got a website or anything up and running then, and he bought one of our singles at a record fair, and inside it there was a fanzine run by our mate Des, who called himself Kermit. That was his pen name. And inside this fanzine was a bit of a UXB write-up, and he said got Kermit, St Matthews Road, Burntwood, blah blah blah. So Dizzy wrote to this address in Burntwood saying, I don't know if you know this Kermit guy who knew UXB. Well, fortunately that's Des's mum and dad. They still live there. So Des then got in touch with me, and I got in touch with the lads, and it all kicked off there.
That's great.
Absolutely unbelievable how we all got back together.
I mean, there's a nice little website on the kind of Cannock, Walsall, and I don't know, there's another, is it Cannock, Walsall, and like the little scene, and like you're on it.
There's quite a few bands.
Oh, that's our mate Alan Tyler. I think.
Somebody's done that. That was how. If you remember, I was trying to trace the guy out the exit that time, and like his brother was in. Bescott Sidings.
Oh,
yeah. Sidings, yeah.
Well, Tony, he joined Bescott Sidings.
Well, it's Chris Mennell. Chris Mennell is the guy I was trying to trace, and his brother.
Yeah, Andy Mennell.
Andy Mennell, Andy, yeah. It was mad. I mean, God bless the internet. That's what I was saying. Like,
because Tony walked and joined Bescott Sidings, and when Dom came in.
So, right, we'll play this since it's out on 1977 record. Who's the guy in Japan? What's his name?
His name's Nobu.
Nah, what's his real name?
Nobudata. Nobudata something.
Right then, we'll go with that. And I'm going to just check that I've got it on 45. It's one of them, which is 45. I got like 33 RPM on it or something like that. So, right, 48 hours, UXB. And how many years old is this now?
Oh, too many.
Yeah, okay, well, that'll do. We'll go with that.
I'll be in your arms. I've been walking all around the world now. All around the world. But I ain't got nothing to show. And now I'm gonna let you know. I'll be sending you this message to you. Sending it all my love. Sending it all with my love. And we'll be sending you the flowers. Count the hours. 'Cause I know what you're thinking of. And I said, hey, I'm looking in your direction, but it ain't out the way, just 2 days away, waiting to make my connection, this time I'm coming home to stay. And I said, hey, I'm waiting in the station, for perfection, waiting for the whistle to blow. You know, I've been making lots of money, but I ain't got nothing to show. You ain't got nothing to show. You'll be watching at your window. You'll be watching that window till you see me, till you see me. So no, you know to be pleased, girl. You be pleased, girl. 'Cause this ain't no one to be free. My connection is time to coming home to stay. All right now. I say hey, looking in your direction, but it ain't out the way, just 2 days away. My connection is I'm coming home to stay.
There we go, 48 hours, available on 1977 records from somewhere in Japan. Or you can contact the lads on, have you got your internet, haven't you?
We've got an internet, yeah, it's www.u-x-b.com.
How did you get on with them T-shirts from the UXB site in the States?
Well, they're on
Good
the way.
idea, like.
Yeah, the guy sent us a proof of them.
Yeah. Right, what was the...
Well, the story...
You better just explain to the listeners, I should say.
We're u-x-b.com, and UXB.com is an American ordnance firm, and they're a big company. They go all over the world disposing of landmines. And because we've got this gig in London coming up, I thought, well, I'll be cheeky. I'll send them an email and say, how about some T-shirts for us to wear at your gig? And about a couple of days later, the president of the company emailed me back to say, would I go on a phone conference call with his directors to discuss the opportunities? And I couldn't believe this. I thought, I've opened another can of worms here now.
Yeah.
So I went on this phone conference call, and it was me talking to all these Yanks, all this American jargon and stuff.
Bit easier than talking to the Japanese, aren't it?
A little bit, yeah. And lo and behold, they said they'd send us some T-shirts, and they also said they want us to re-record some of our stuff so they can play in these countries where they're disposing of landmines to educate the local kids, like not to touch anything dodgy. And so we're just going to see what happens on that.
Let's go on to like, you know, you've had the initial thing off Dizzy, and then like, what was your response, like Dom and yourself's response to like when he contacted you and says like, have you still got them drums, you know?
Well, I was still playing anyway. I'm still playing in another band,
Yeah.
The Loveless at the moment. And
oh no, I know that name as well.
yeah, playing at the Forge in Cannock, by the way, on the 12th of February.
Oh, okay, that's it. We've got to get out a plug as well.
It's, yeah, well, we were up for it when. So we hadn't heard from Dom for years, so we didn't know whether he'd materialised. We knew the other scene. Well, we knew it was.
Did you think it was a wind-up, Dom? And
I thought it was a wind-up at first.
First of all, yeah, but I recognised Cole's voice after about 2 minutes. But it's yeah, it was a surprise and nice to sort of see everyone, doing so well.
We're lucky really that everybody.
Nice to get appreciated after all this time, you know. I mean, we were all right locally, and we had a few.
And has that been this time round? As you know, when I bet it was like, oh yeah, no way. You know, when you were selling, oh, by the way, like, you know, we've got a deal in Japan, and
you know,
really.
Yeah.
We are lucky that we all live in about 5 or 6 mile radius. Because you lived in America for a while, didn't you, Dom? Was it America you lived for a while? And
No, I took a year out and travelled to Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah.
And then came back through the States. And then came back to Warsaw. I lived in London for
Bit of a culture shock then,
a few years. But, and then I got the phone call from Col, and we've had a few rehearsals, and it's going fairly well.
Where have you been rehearsing at?
we just normally use a local church hall in Great Worley or one of the working men's clubs in the back room, you know. And
cheapest place.
Blast it out.
Yeah,
blast it out.
Just go for it, yeah.
It's amazing how it come. You know, it sounds.
Yeah.
And the songs are pretty simple, but it does sound. You know, still sounds.
I think we're as tight as ever, aren't we?
Yeah.
So is it? I mean, is the one missing tonight?
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah.
So what's the like?
Mark plays guitar.
Guitar, yeah.
And
What, you straight vocals, Dom?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
mixed drums, and you also do some singing yourself.
Yeah, well, I sing half the vocals on 48 hours.
48 hours, yeah.
And I play the bass and occasional backing vocals when they'll let me switch the mic on.
Yeah.
Or we tell the mix, you know, turn it
I didn't know that.
So, like, I mean, what gigs have you done? Have you had some like just local gigs getting warmed up, or
We
you
haven't done any
nothing
local
yet?
gigs yet.
Nothing.
No.
No.
That's the shock to the system. So.
We're just getting into it. We got this London one. We're going to try and get a local gig, you know, as a warm up if we can. We got London, and then basically we'll just see what happens. Really.
Good.
Well,
It's a nice, great little story, actually. I mean, you know, fair play to Dizzy with what he's doing, and like I say, you're the second band in the area, if you like. You know, there was the Circles the first time round. You're the second one, and like, hopefully you'll take a bit more of an advantage than the Circles have done. Because is there a chance of going to Japan too?
Well, some of the other bands off Detour were asked to go out to Japan last year. 2 bands went out last year, and this Nobu guy paid for them to go out there. And the Circles were due to go out there last year, but they couldn't make it for whatever reason.
We're holding back for the World Cup.
I'd be alright with his name, I would. I'd drop myself in it with his name a few times.
And we were just hoping that we'd get asked as well, but it's gone a bit quiet on the Japanese front. I don't know whether somebody's upset him or what, but you never know. You never know what's going to around the corner.
You know, Kevin from what was in the Sect. Do you remember the Sect? They ended up in Warsaw after. But Skimmer, that's the band he's doing there. This is the. I'll see if I can get a track from these off on the show before the end. These have been out there. There's actually photos in here you can look at. This is on Crackle Records, which is based in Leeds. So you can ask the lads in Knife. Is it Knife Edge from Leeds? If that, because actually the label is run by a guy from Woverhampton, because he was like really chuffed that Kevin had got radio down there. You know, he says, "Look, I moved away from Wolverhampton because I thought it was crap years ago, and it seems as like there's so much happening down there now, like, you know." But you can, I mean, these have been out there, and like he just said, it's like, you know, it's immense. I mean, you really do go out there and you get treated like top dog. So. I mean, if you get the chance, just get out there. You know what I mean, and do the business. Because I think there's, and you know, you got to look at, like, there's a bit of finance in it as well. So it's, I mean, you can always, you know, it's going to pay for itself. And
well, the band that went out there that I'm in touch with, the Fast Cars, they were playing this little club, and Stuart said they should have only had about 250 in this club, but he said they must have about 400 in. And when they walked on stage, the crowd just went mental, and they pushed all the monitors over. They had to stop the gig and tape the monitors down and everything. He says it was absolutely heaving.
Must be a bit weird playing to everybody with black hair, then, wasn't it?
They British culture, though, don't they? You know,
they do,
I've got friends who.
Just on the phone to you last. Oh, you'll be all right for them over there, are you? You'll be fed up with them when you come back. Actually, you're able to do chopsticks with your drums or all the little fancy bits, you know, with cosy pal tricks. But you mentioned like we were talking about like Wolverhampton scene, which we have done a little bit earlier. But like a venue you mentioned last night, we were sort of rattling away on the phone for a while last night. The Lord Raglan, which is still on the ring. Is it still out now?
There's still a pub there. I don't know.
I know it's out because back in the. I mean, you were just say who you saw there. What the first time you went?
Yeah, well, the very first time I went there, I saw the Beat, and that was about 2 months before Tears of a Clown came out, and I thought these are special. These are, and then lo and behold, a few weeks later,
not the specials.
saw them as well. Yeah, the one at the Raglan.
But that was like you know you got to look at like the Raglan was just like a pub gig. It was like
it was,
you know and. Again, mentioned in the circles, it was the first gig they ever did there.
Was it?
And you're talking about places getting trashed. Yeah. Well, they ought to have been there that night because the one was, and it was owned at the time by I think it was Chico Arnez, the band leader. Yeah. And it was a great little venue, and you know it was kind of a lot of bands hit that first. Because, you know they couldn't really the Lafayette unless you got a bit of a local following, which like you obviously had, or you was you was on a deal.
Later on, we got a gig at the last.
Yeah, I mean it was tough going for locals to get in there initially as an early gig, but the Raglan was a pretty good little spot. So we'll play a gig. We'll play a track from the first thing that the Beat put out on Two Tone Records, and I keep stopping and changing from ranking Full Stop to Tears of a Clown, but we'll go with Tears of a Clown. There it goes. Right, we're going to this gig you're doing, lads, back, up at the garage in London, and I've just lost my notes, but don't panic because I usually do that every week. With your info on. There it is. Right, tell us about the gig coming up on the 2nd of March, Saturday. What's happening with that year?
Well, it's basically 4 bands off Bored Teenagers Volume 2. Knife Edge from Leeds, Negatives from Bradford, and the Zips all the way from Bonnie, Scotland, Glasgow. The Zips are actually flying down, and they sent me an email and said...
Bill and Dizzy on though for that.
They said...
you want to fly from Bobbington, ain't you?
They said, if we buy the beer, will you supply the back line and the gear? And I says, well, why? And they says, well, we're flying down, so that's... they're going to make a good weekend of it.
Oh, that's great. Like, what? How are you? Are you taking a coach down or anything like that? Or
I think we'll just either take a coach down or go down in our own cars with a lot of mates, you know.
Yeah.
There's quite a few people want to come down.
And is that like, is this something that the labels sort of promoting as well?
Yeah, Dizzy and a chap called Paul Robinson,
who's
Dizzy's mate, they're promoting this. There's also a guy called Mags involved, I think he's from around here, isn't he?
Wolverhampton, I think.
Yeah, I think he's involved with the promotion of it as well. And it's basically the 4 bands off Detour.
I mean, have they put this sort of thing on before? Have they put, like the label?
I don't think Detour have now. I don't think they have. I think it's a first for them, really.
Well, I mean, it was last, like, from the information off yourself last week that I did a repeat play off Knife Edge because they did a gig back together in Leeds with about 400 people there. Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
So
they did 30 songs.
That's how we don't have the 30 songs. It took us long enough to get about 10 together.
I think we had 25 songs anyway.
But I mean that was it sounds like it's going to be are you staying? Are you just going out for the day, or are you going to stay down?
We ain't really sorted it out yet. We might stop over. We might stay overnight. It depends.
Have you sorted out who's going on fair, or are you going to fight that out when you get there?
I think we're going to draw lots for that.
Yeah. See how many's what band's got the most following outside, I suppose. But well, I mean, if it's sort of. It's not like one of these competition gigs, which I hate anyway, No. So it's going to be
just 4 bands doing 30 minutes each.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It doesn't really matter what order you go on, really. We're all just going to go down there and.
Have they got any? I mean, have they got any radio for this down in London? I mean, it's the kind of thing that Capital might have done it years ago, but I don't think they
did.
To
be honest,
there's a panel of judges, I think, with Peter Waterman's at the end. So. See what he has to say.
Well, if that other one's there, what's on that panel, by all means, give him a good kicking when he gets outside. Or give him all a good kicking, actually, for putting the thing on the telly in the first place. Anyway, we'll play a track from each band, and hopefully, if I get through this, I want a round of applause from the listeners at the end of it, because I'm just going to try and do this without the aid of a net, as they say. And we'll start off with a track called Over the Wall, Not Over the Hill, as I said earlier, from UXB. Then we'll go on. We'll go on to the Zips and this one first, Over the Wall, UXB, goes like this.
Catching through the murky black now, going over the wall now, going over the wall, going over the wall now, going over the wall. Whoa, yeah. And we're sinking through the blackness, shots of the shade into the madness. The dark shots in the face and myself, jump on the wall. I made my descent now, going. With the barbed wire so hard it hurts. Someone waiting on the other side. You better go out and start to ride now. Going over the wall now. Going over the wall. Going over the wall now. Going over the wall. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Going over the wall now.
I was just commenting to the lads on that collection is, it's really good, really good. What's it selling for exactly?
I think it's about 11 quid, something like that.
Well, it's 11 quid well spent and a great collection. And
has he got that in IY 61?
I think he has, because like Dizzy, I know Dizzy sends stuff in there. Have a look in the. I will have a look.
What's that one in Birmingham? Tempest or something, is it?
Tempest, yeah.
I think they've got it in
well, actually, that's something I can mention. Tempest record. And a lot of sorrow this week. And I know I'm in the shadow of the walls ground and I'm yet to get home. And Colin's looking at his watch and thinking, you said tell me I was going to play any of this last night. No, that's so. Because I see Colin here cringing.
The Kings.
Cringing. The Kings, they don't know how Stevie Bull had died.
Well, I was sitting at home Tuesday night,
and
this is just to sort of put you in the picture of what standing this guy was. And we've got a Villa fan here as well, Dom, who actually cheered when he John Gregory got the sack early on.
Come on, Ray Braden.
Do you reckon that's on the cards?
Possibility.
Knowing Doug off. Yeah. From the Birmingham. Right, we will leave the show with a track from UXB, and it's a bit of a reggae feel, staying in that feel. 2 Steps. So once again, lads, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.
I hope you've enjoyed it.
Cheers, yeah.
Thanks very much.
Hope to see you in London.
I will endeavour. So anyway, best of luck with everything you've got planned for the future, and we'll go with this. 2 Steps, UXB, available on. Is this available on?
This is another Japanese import.
Oh yeah, okay.
1977.
Right. Okay, lads. Nice one.
Alone back home to bring up a thought that isn't your own. How's she gonna manage to make ends meet? meat. You have to go back to work in the street. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Serving the city of Wolverhampton College 24 hours a day. This is 1350. This is 1350. WCR AM.